Hello. I'm just gonna give it a few seconds. Can you see? This is what I did yesterday. I'm so excited, you guys. I was talking to Renee about my wall easel, and she said to me, she's gonna make one, and she's like, I'm gonna paint it white. I'm like, paint it white? I never thought about painting it white. So I had no idea, you guys, that painting would take as long as it does. It took me 3 hours by myself and a little brush. And that's what my husband said. He goes, well, you were using a tiny brush. What are you thinking? But you know, when you paint wood, you need to definitely do a couple coats. But I love it. I don't know what I was thinking, why I didn't do it white before. I did like how it matched the roof, the ceiling, the knotty pine. I really did like that. But when I was doing photos of my art, I always felt like the lines were so straight that sometimes the photography wouldn't look great. And I'm working on a branding video, and I thought it'd be really pretty if I'm working on this easel and it's white behind there. So I'll just wait a second for everybody to get on, and then I'll pop on a canvas. So I hope you guys are doing well. I'm freezing. Let me just show you how cold it is. Ready? That is all fog. Okay. So in the afternoon, right along the horizon, there are these beautiful mountains, and you can see the blue sky, and that is about where the mountains are, is about an hour from here, and it's usually like 100 degrees. It's sunny, and then he gets closer to the water and it's freezing. Oh my gosh, I'm so cold that I have my blanket all ready to be wrapped up in. I know, isn't that nuts? All right, so hold on. I'm just gonna make sure that we're actually on. I mean, I know we're on, but I want to make sure we're straight and good over here. So, all right, hold on. Let's see. I know that it's busy. Okay, here we are. Oh, good. Okay, yes, marine layer, raining buckets, heat wave in Ireland. Good morning. Oh, wow. It's all the weather stuff, and Suzanne's on. Hi, Suzanne. So we need rain really bad, and this marine layer doesn't do much for us, but anyway. All right, so there's my easel. So you guys, all right, look, I'm gonna put, I wanna show you what the white does, okay? So I did a blog post about my wall easel. So if you go to my blog, you can just type in wall easel. Let me know if that does not work. But you can make this anywhere, even like if you had just 2 pieces of wood and 2 across, you can put this anywhere in your house. Take over your kitchen and your dining room and wherever you want, and make that your play area. Because when I started doing all of my paintings, I was in every room of the house. And then I was in the kids' playroom, I think, and I started putting nails in the wall because I went to this one workshop with Tracy Verdugo 7 or 8 years ago, and the workshop was in this huge open studio called Venus Studios. I don't know if it's still there. It's down in Palm Desert, and there were nails all over the wall. And I know Floral does the same thing. There's just nails, and they hang their paintings, and you go to town. And ever since I started painting standing up with the painting straight, not on an easel like this, but straight, it was just different for me, and I just really liked it better. I felt like I was looking straight at the painting instead of like on a slant. Now I know everybody has a different way of doing it. When I also paint on the table when I'm sitting, and it all depends on how I'm feeling, what mood I'm in. If I'm doing little tiny details, I often take the painting off the wall and put it right on the table. But I really like the white, and I haven't even put this up yet, you guys, because I'm telling you, it was wet and I did it late last night. I don't even know if that's straight, but doesn't that look so good on the white? Hold on, I gotta see it for myself. Okay, and then I will fill in the whole entire area. Oh, there's Donna. Hey, Donna. So let's see. And then, you know, the thing about these easels is that you can pop up lots of different paintings, and of course that won't stay. Yeah. Anyway, you guys get the idea. It's great to work on multiple things, and in today's live, I'm going to show you how I work on multiple pages in my journal and things like that. So anyway, isn't that fun? I'm just so excited. You guys are the first to see it. I'll probably do some sort of a little post about it. All right, and so my bouquet today is using, do you guys remember me talking about the little frogs? Okay, look how pretty this is. All right, so I was inspired by, okay, is it Willow? I'm stumping on her name. I'm so inspired by her. I'll put it in the comments. But she's a woman from England who makes beautiful bouquets using these frogs. So the frog, I'll probably ruin the whole thing by lifting it out. It's a heavy thing. Just Google frog for bouquets. It's got like little things in it. So when I like to do these, I like to keep them not too busy. This one might be a little bit sparse, but I ran around this morning and these are in bloom right now. These are wild all over the place in the coastal California area in the north part. And aren't they gorgeous? And they multiply, and some people think they're weeds. I think they're so pretty. These are from succulents. These gorgeous, aren't they gorgeous? They are from succulents and they grow out and they're great to draw because of all these little tiny little new buds. And then I have a little salvia in here, and this is sage that I'm growing that Anna's husband gave me once, and it's growing like crazy. So I need to dry some and burn some, and then this is like this little thistle. So there's my bouquet. Hope you guys like it. The frogs are really fun. I really like doing the frogs. Okay, so I have been working a lot over the last couple weeks since I came back from Jean Oliver's. And if you guys were on my last live a couple weeks ago, I was talking about, you know, some of the things that I did in her workshops, Poet and Misfits. But also one of the big things is when I was with Renee Mueller, we went together and we went on this big hike the next day. After we did the workshop, we were so inspired, and we went on this big hike in Colorado, and we spent the day brainstorming on our business because we have similar business, yet different, very different styles. She's an online teacher as well, and we met at one of Jean's workshops a couple years ago. And anyway, one of the things that we realized is that as artists, running our own art business, we hardly ever do art for ourselves. Like, we are creating art a lot for whether it's commission or whether it's a class that we're doing or whether it's something like that. We're always creating art for things that we're selling or things that we're producing. But it's rare that we're actually creating art just to play and have fun and explore. And I think it's so, so important to do that. And it just reminds me of way back when, you know, we were kids and we would just draw and create, and there was no intention with the piece other than to play and explore. It wasn't like I'm sitting here going, okay, I'm going to be selling this. Not at all. It's really just to kind of get into a mind space of being creative. And what happens is when you do that over and over and turn it into a habit, you're doing a few things. You're getting muscle memory going with your hand, which is super important for anybody who wants to draw and get better at their practice or their hobby. You also are just sort of putting aside all of the noise that is going on right now. And whether, you know, every year there's something, right? And this last year and a half has been a lot, but there's always noise, whether it's family stuff or world stuff. It just kind of like stops all that for a little bit. It also makes me more creative. I find that if I do a practice and I keep working on it, I will think about it during the day. Like, so I have been working on doing these things I'm going to show you, but often I'm thinking like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like, ooh, I can't wait to try that tomorrow, because it kind of gets you excited to try new things. And whether you make a bunch of crap, like I made a bunch of crap yesterday and I was gonna post about it today and I didn't have time, but I made a bunch of crap yesterday. And instead of being like, ugh, what I'm doing is I'm gonna turn that crap into something good next. And so anyway, just kind of wanted to give you a little background of, I'm calling them studio mornings. I like to create in the morning because it's when I'm fresher and I feel like if I said, okay, I'm going to practice in the afternoon, then what will happen is my to-do list will get too long, the kids will need a ride or they'll need something, or I'm thinking about dinner, or you know, I have too many calls going on. So if I carve that time aside and make it a priority and make it important, then I know I'm going to do it. And so for anybody out there who's kind of thinking, I wish I could have some sort of a little practice, my next door neighbor, Terry Kasimov, who's on the other side of my mom, Donna Propus was on one side and Terry Kasimov was on the other. And she would tell me, even, and I know I tell you guys this all the time, but even if it's 10 minutes, right? Just 10 minutes, if that's all you have, you just take your journal, take your sketchbook and doodle for 10 minutes. Grab a flower out of the garden and just doodle it. You know, if you don't have a garden, grab a bouquet from the, you know, local store and take one stem out and just doodle it. And it really just gets you into sort of a mindset and a practice. And then you'll start to be really craving that time. And let me tell you, so much goodness comes out of that. Okay, without further rambling, I'm going to put us this way. I'm going to show you some of the journals that I've been working on. I'm going to show you some of the papers I have been working on. And then Lorna had a question about Stabilo, and I'm going to talk to you guys about that, all right? So, okay, blah, blah, blah. Hold on. I kind of cleaned up a little bit for you. All right, here we go. Here we go. Whoops. Hold on. Let me move that. So this is where I create in the mornings too. I kind of have my messy workspace all messy and ready for you guys. I'm gonna go like that so we can see a little bit more. Move my water. Let me see if you guys have any questions too, just let me know. And, okay, I'm straightening it out. Straightening it out. All right. So let me show you, oh, I'm telling you, I have a crook in my back from that painting. All right, let me show you what I have been doing over the last few weeks. One of them is just creating papers, and just want to make sure we're all in here. Good. I just creating papers, and it kind of was something that we did a lot of stuff from Jean's class in here. And I know I showed some of you guys this last time, but I know last time's live was a little impromptu and you guys weren't all on there. So I don't think I've put it on YouTube yet. But some of these things I have been doing over the last few weeks is just painting on bits and pieces, okay? So it's like ephemera that's just, either it could be old and I'm just painting. This was a menu from Jean's lunch that she served everybody in picnic baskets. That was amazing. And let me just show you this too. I made this tool. Was this a couple years ago? No, it was at the beginning of COVID, I think. I made this. Oh, look, I just pulled them out, but I can stick them back in. I love to kind of create tools to make my own marks. And so this toothpick holder thingy I made out of toothpicks, 2 pieces of cardboard, and packing tape, okay? It's that easy. And what I did was I would dip it in. Oh, let me tell you what happened before I tell you about that. Okay, if you guys go back to a couple posts on my Instagram, I had a huge spill, okay? I spilled the most gorgeous blue, very expensive, high fluid paint. And I had an hour to do as many things as possible with it. And one of them was literally taking this, dipping it into my spill. You can see the spill there too. And just using you know, lots of different ways to create marks, because I will use all of these things in journal pages. So if you have a spill, okay, and I know a couple of you guys tell me that you spill quite a bit like I do, use the spill up, even if it's on random scrap pieces of paper. Get yourself a box tray. Here's my tray. Get yourself a tray, and this is for later for me to show you guys, and put junk in here. And then when you are thinking about making journal pages, you can go through here and you can adhere all this stuff. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But the ink spill created some fun things. So these are some of the papers I was working on. I think this is so cool. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do with it yet, but look how awesome that is. That's like bits of paper that got stuck, all of the ink that kind of got, you know, how cool is that? So if you guys have any idea, I might just somehow use this as a layer on a piece of collage, you know, like put some matte medium down and put it down on maybe a cradle board and build from it. So, oh yes, Andrea says it's collage fodder. What is hysterical is I have now heard that word 4 times this week, and I'd never heard of it before. And that's exactly what it is. It's collage fodder. It's so funny. That word totally cracks me up, but it is what it is. And it's a place for your bits and your bobs and your junk and, you know, whatever you have. And just get a real pretty tray. I got this tray at, let's see, Cost Plus, I think, or even Target. And, you know, I used to have it in a Tupperware, and now I put it in there, and it's cute. Okay, so here's some of my bits. Let's see, here's a couple other things that I made. Like this was, I think, a piece of paper that was right next to my journals. And I would just do this kind of stuff. And, you know, whether I was trying to get rid of some of the inks and things like that. Lynn, this right here is plastic. This is a 3M piece of plastic that I use for my palette. So when I'm painting, I have a piece of this plastic because then it's, I can peel it off, except this is ink, so it won't really peel off, but you can peel off your acrylic paints if you wanted and keep reusing it. So I got a whole roll of this. Betty Krause used this in a workshop once, and I loved it. So you can, she has a lot going on, like a big palette all the time. So you can take a huge sheet of it and put it down, and then, anyway, that's what that is. So it's a plastic. I would have to glue it. All right, so here's another piece. But, you know, this could be something. This could be something one day. And then, all right, so this was a piece of drop cloth that I got at Jean's workshop, and I literally put it in the ink. That's how much ink we had to work with. A lot. This is the toothpick mark again. So even if your mornings, like if you came in to do your little art morning practice and you had no idea what you wanted to do, just make collage fodder. I'm going to be saying that all the time now. There's some more. This is another piece that I added more to. So another thing too is that you could keep on layering onto your bits. You know, like maybe I take this out when I spill pink and I add a little pink to it. You could just keep on working on it. It's very meditative. It's very creative. You're using your hands, you're building stuff up, and you don't really have an idea what this, I don't know what this is going to be, but it's great to just keep playing. That's like the most important thing. This is a piece I'll show you. And anyway, that's sort of some fun little collage fodder stuff. And who knows what that'll all turn into, but I know it's going to be really fun. And I wanted to show you some of the journal pieces that I've been doing this week. So this is the book that Jean gave us at the workshop. It's by Peg and All, and it's bookbinding kit. You can buy it on their site. It's like $32 or $34. And we made these books at her workshop and we sewed them together, but you can do, the whole thing is in here, how to do it. But what I've been doing is when I come in the morning, I work on multiple pages at once. I'm either working on my collage pages or I'm working on multiple journals at the same time. And again, if I didn't have like a clear idea what I wanted to do, well, then I gesso pages to get them ready. So because this paper is more of a drawing paper, it's not as thick as a watercolor paper, I'm going to want to put gesso down or paint down. So, you know, gesso could be white or it could be clear. And if you use the gesso, it gets, you know, it gets some tooth into it. It also creates a little thicker of a page. It can really handle your wet and your neos and your inks and everything like that. The paper still will buckle a tiny bit, but I'll show you some pages and you'll see it's, you know, it's not so bad. And again, it's just a journal. It's just for fun. So I don't really have an order when I'm playing around with the journal. I don't really have it like, I'm going to work on this page. No, sometimes I'll just go right into the middle and work on something. It sort of is how I'm feeling. This was a page that we dyed at the workshop. We dipped them in a bunch of hibiscus dye, which was really fun. But you know, if I have extra paint on my brush, I'm just going to, you know, plop on some paint so it's nice and thick and is ready for another time. So this is just white. All this is white gesso and a little bit of my hot pink Nova. That's all it is, but it's ready to go for my next time. This is using that toothpick again. When I had my big blue spill, I would just go in and you could, you know, push your toothpick down and drag it a little bit. You can make all different types of marks with random things. So that's how that came. And then here, I think I was just taking a paintbrush and playing and really, really just playing and not thinking. No thoughts, no thoughts. I really like, this is, let me show you this color. This is the Dioxazine Violet by Nova. It's 103. And this is how dark it is when it comes out of the tub. And then you can add white to it. And I usually add white titanium hypho over like a thicker paint when I'm just wanting a background layer. And then what I do is I use the, where are they? I have my little spinny thing here. I have a whole little jar of them because I go through them quite a bit. But these are the Signo Uniball white. And I think I have a link to this on my website under art supply, like my favorite art supplies. But you can get 6 of these on Amazon. So I usually buy them in a bulk of 6, or you can buy one at a time, like at an art store. But sometimes in the morning, I'll just come in and literally just pick up something and start using my hand. Again, it's a lot to do with a hand memory. It's a muscle. You think about it as like a basketball player, you know, or any athlete really, or even a musician. You know, you practice and you practice and you practice. That's all my morning stuff is. There's nothing else to it than just practicing. And then maybe I'll get a spark of an idea, like how fun is this? All this is, it's ink, and it's using like acrylic ink, the Amsterdam stopper inks, acrylic ink, water, and then, do you guys like that noise? My sound effects. And then a skewer, okay? That's all this is. And it is so much fun. And what I love about it is the way it dries. Isn't that so beautiful? So that might be just finished for me. I may not ever go back to this page because I really like the way this looks. It's so easy and it's simple. I love how the water spray makes these little tiny, it looks like when you're like on the ground. Okay, so wait, we're gonna be kids for a second. When you're lying on the ground in a park or in the forest or in the woods and you look up and you see the light coming through the trees. Okay, you guys, do you think I'm a little nuts? But seriously, that's what that looks like to me. I know, I'm a little crazy like that. That's just another piece that was dyed at the workshop. And then I did it. I just love this. I don't know what this will turn into, and maybe it will turn into something. I just don't know what. But the details that you get, so how I did this effect is I used my stopper, okay? Where's what? I'll show you. I don't want to do this. Oh. Oh my gosh. Like you take it, this not this color obviously, but you take it out of this and you take the stopper and you draw with the stopper. And you just let it be. You don't paint it, you don't smush it, you don't do anything, and you let it dry. And then what I do is when it's almost dry, I take a paper towel and I blot it and I get this beautiful line. It's almost like tie-dye. Anyway, I thought that was cool. Then, you know, there's some mornings where I don't know what I'm doing, really. I'm just playing, making shapes, you know, just sort of doing round shapes and then adding colors like later on. I've done a whole bunch of little videos. You can see them on Instagram. They're really fast, but it just kind of shows you the process of in an hour's time, I'm probably working on 4 journals at once. That the weight of this paper is, it's this one here. Let's see. Doesn't really tell you, but I believe this is like a 90 pound. I'm going to show you my other journals that I am also playing with are 140 pound. So this could even be thinner. This is to me more like a drawing paper, but as soon as you add gesso to it, you can do all of the things I'm doing. It just buckles a tiny bit, but you know, you can get quite a lot of pages in this little book, where when it's thicker, you know, I only have whatever 16 pages on here, but you can see all of the pages in this one. So this would be more like a drawing sketchbook weight. So if you have a drawing sketchbook at home and you want it to be thicker to do a bunch of stuff like this, then put gesso on it. This is just one I did yesterday, and I grabbed a marker and I just started, you know, drawing. Let's see if there's anything else in here. No. So that's one. So I have this when I'm working and I sit down in the mornings. I'll have this just out and about, okay? And I'll just grab it. Here's a couple others that I have been working on. This was just using the acrylic inks and water and then letting it dry. I have my little heat dryer with me. I always have a skewer because I love just making all of these marks with the ink. Love it. It's like one of my favorite things to do. When it's dry, then I go over it again. Here's all the little white little dots that I was using with the markers, the Signos. And then this is one that I really like, and it's interesting because this was dark like this side, but then I took white Nova paint, so just white acrylic paint, regular paint, and it's white. The Nova is, you know, it's thin and thick enough, so it's soft body, but because it's not so thick, I was able to use it and see through it, and I love that effect. I think it's so beautiful, and it's really, you know, ethereal and pretty, and I really liked it. One thing I did though, that was a mistake, was 2 pages got stuck together and I didn't think twice about it, and I pulled one out and then my stitching came out. So maybe I'll do a little washi tape here or re-stitch it, re-hole it and stitch it in, because the hole through my pages fell out. So anyway, that's something I have to deal with. This is one where I put the hot pink down and I was just layering again, and then I decided to take my Posca pens that I love, and I did the aqua green, which is right here. And I know a couple of you guys were asking me about the Posca pens, especially after our last Zoom class. I get the Posca in a set of 8 on Amazon, and these are called the pastel set. So you can get 8 of these. This is the 5 width. So it is thicker, but it's so beautiful to put on the acrylic background because it's thick enough, it's opaque enough. I love figuring out what colors go together when I'm doing it, and it's just so much fun. And this paper that I made my journal out of that I have to fix is 140 pound Fabriano hot press. And this is from the Layered Petals class that we make these little journals. And, but I always use Fabriano 140 pound hot press when I can. If I can't find Fabriano, I will definitely use Arches. And you can make up your own journals. You could even do sheets that go in. I'll show you this in a minute, but I was working on sheets that you can pull in and put back in. Pull in and put back in. All right, this is one where I was just totally messing around. This was during my day yesterday when I wasn't loving what I was doing, but as soon as I took the white titanium and started brushing it on, like I literally took a brush and I'm just looking to make sure you guys don't have any comments. I took the brush and I went like this. And it's like taking your painting and putting this like layer of ghost, it's like a ghostly layer. No, it's something, it's like just light. It makes everything just more romantic and lighter, and I really like the effect. So we'll see, like if I do that in some paintings coming up, I don't know. You know, this again, it's all experimenting and playing. This is one that I did a few days ago, or maybe even last week, where again, I'm using my Yummy Aqua Green marker. I'm using the Signo Ball marker, and I took splotches from my ink. And then what I'll do is, I don't usually do it all in one sitting. I might take my aqua marker and do this, and then grab some collage fodder. Sounds like I'm, you know, saying something else, but I may do this, and then I put this back in my tray, and then who knows, that might be something down the road. I often just layer and layer until I really want to work on something. So I'm going to be using these mornings to just play, and then maybe I'm working on something for myself that I actually need the time, and then I'll use the studio mornings for that. This is just getting a background ready. So if you don't know what to do, just paint a color background. This is where it got stuck and I ripped it off. So that's one little journal. And again, I'll have this out, and I'll have my other one out, and I'll have all my sheets out. Oh my God, Heidi, totally. I feel like I'm swearing flockers. This is from the Layered Petals. And again, you can see how you know, this was what, a year ago, and I'm still obsessed with aqua and purpley pink. Love, love, love. I'm just trying to think of, oh, when I had my big ink spill, I don't even know. Yeah, must have done this way. When I had my big blue ink spill, I just took a brush and used it. I literally dipped into the spill for all of this stuff that I showed you from the beginning. That's how much stuff I had. This is just, oh, and sketches. All right, so here's where we get to the ugly thing. One of my ugly things is yesterday I was working on this, and you guys, it was so ugly. I was almost laughing to myself when I was doing it, but I wanted to talk about it today because I want you to understand how a process can work. So I had this green background, and then I grabbed a paint pen, and then I started designing it. I'm just like, oh my God, what am I doing? It's so ugly. So then I took some stencils, which is another great thing to use when you're working. Oops, I just dropped them all over the floor. When you're working with stencils, these are from Stencil Girl. In fact, I'm going to give a shout out right now to, no, this is Wendy Brightbill, which I love. I'm giving a shout out, and I don't have her thing. Oh, darn it. That's not a great shout out. Okay. I will find it. But this is, I listened to a podcast with Cathy Nichols and on the Left Brain Artist. Okay, so the podcast is called The Left Brain Artist. Suzanne Redmond is the host. I love her podcast. I was on her podcast and she's amazing. But anyway, she interviewed Cathy Nichols and I listened to her while I was doing my art easel. And Cathy has a stencil on Stencil Girl. And she's just a fabulous artist and fun. So go listen to it or go check her out on Instagram or on her website. She does oracle cards and beautiful flowers and birds. So Cathy with a C. Okay. All right. Now, where was I? Okay. So I'm working on this ugly, ugly thing and I'm stenciling a couple stencils and it was so ugly. I took my heat dryer, but then I decided to cover it up. So I covered it up with ink. I just literally took blue ink out of a bottle like this. I took a sponge brush, which was so much fun. It's smaller than this, it's like maybe this. And I just pushed it around, listening to music, just pushing the ink around, taking my time and really playing with what happens with an ink and a sponge brush and looking at the beautiful marks that you can get, you know, not really caring about what's under here. So I wanted these little peekaboo holes and I was thinking, okay, when this is dry, I'll go in now. I just want to make sure it's the thing. And then I can kind of go in and just start to add embellishments to this page. You know, I could take what I did yesterday and really add to it. You know, maybe take this white Uniball and just go around. One of the tips with these pens and any paint pens, you just want to kind of work more upright than on a diagonal because it will be a little bit better. It will come out. But I just wanted to really encourage you guys, when you have work that's ugly, to not give up. Don't be discouraged. You just put it away and grab it the next day when it's dry instead of when it's wet. Because when it's wet, you could turn it into mud really fast. And then see what comes up the next day. You know, like I might take that and maybe I take that and I add a piece of collage fodder. Like laughing the whole time I'm doing that. So, you know, like maybe I take a little piece here. And then the other thing that I'm obsessed with all of a sudden is writing a script. So I think I wrote here, sometimes my morning sessions or practice is not what you want because blah, 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 blah. I can't even read it. And that's the point. Like your writing does not have to be legible. I literally took a marker and just started writing. It could be your frustration with the day, with your art practice, with that morning, or it could be like, oh my God, I just found the most amazing thing and I'm so excited. I'm going to do it tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. But what will happen is once you have your script, you could then, you know, put some collage paper over it and just kind of work that into your design. So there's like an endless amount of things you can do. So I just want to talk to you guys about a couple things that, oh, wait, a couple more things too, is that this is the Jean Dickerson journal that I have, okay? And so I know you guys have seen this, but what I've done is I started working by pulling pages out. So this is one I did with that purple and the ink, and I love that color combination. But then, you know, I could put it in here. I could just pop it right back in. And you can make one of these yourself, super easy. You know, you just, I mean, you guys are all creative out there. So this looks like it's, what do you call it? Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain lapse. Stretchy. It's stretchy. But my point is that you can, you know, get one of these amazing, beautiful journals from Jean, and then you could add in your own papers. So this is something else. Like instead of having my beautiful leather on my big spill that I made, I just took this paper out and I was working on it. And then the other thing I did was I worked on these last week too. Like so many times I can't even tell you, and I don't like either of them yet. But then I just cut these up yesterday. This was one piece and I cut it up, and maybe I'll go in there with a few more things and I'll turn this into a card and I'll send it to somebody, you know? And that's the nice thing too about working on thicker paper. This is cold press, and this was right out of a pad. It was right out of a watercolor paper pad. And this might have been 4 layers of stuff. Each morning, maybe I gave it like 5 minutes of time. And then maybe I'll go in and just start working with my paint pens, you know? Yeah, you guys, it's elastic. Oh my gosh, it's elastic. Isn't that terrible? I can't remember anything. Okay, I just wanted to show you a few things I do it here and some materials. And then I want to talk to Lorna's question about Stabilos. So, one of the things that you want to do when you're working on papers, when you find old papers that you like, you want to use clear gesso. So if you go and you buy an old book, an old vintage book, or you have something that, you know, Etsy sells lots of vintage stuff, but even if you have stuff that you own that you've had for a long time, once you start using water things, then what will happen is, it will bleed. And so the clear gesso, for any of you guys who are not journaling yet, the clear gesso is a great thing to put down on all of the papers that you want for collage fodder. Okay, like all of this would have clear gesso on it. And that way, when you're using it and you want to add Stabilo or you want to add paint, it all has the gesso already. And so that's one thing, okay? The other thing is clear gesso is great for these types of journals that have the thinner paper. I don't really put clear gesso on my 140-pound paper, okay? So on the clear gesso, on the thinner paper, like your sketchbook paper, I would put a coat of clear gesso, or I would put a coat of white gesso. It really just depends. You can also get black gesso, and you guys know me, I'm not into the black and dark colors, but I know Renee and Jean often use black gesso in their work too, and it can be really beautiful as a background before you start layering on stuff. So think about that. All right, so that's the gesso. And then I use matte medium for my gluing, or you could use Mod Podge, or you can use even glue sticks. But the reason why matte medium works is if you were working on a piece that you wanted to be archival, you just want to make sure you're using something that's going to last. And so if you're doing something that's, you know, just for play, glue sticks are fine. If you're doing something that you eventually maybe want to hang or frame or something, you might want to use matte medium. And that's how you would put your pieces of fodder down on your paper. And do you think by the time we meet next week, I'll stop saying the word that way? And then, okay, and then the other thing is, because Lauren had this question, is when you're working on some things that are water soluble, you want to put a fixative over it if you wanted to gesso on top. So for instance, if I wanted to use my Neos, we'll just go right into this book here. If I wanted to use my Neos, and I have a little water. Can you hear the blower? Why can't they make blowers that are silent? Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's a Neo that I'm dipping in water and I'm using. And then Lorna's question was, what's the difference between like a Neo and a Stabilo and these Stabilos too? This is another Stabilo. Look at my colors, isn't that funny? I go right to my yummy, yummy colors, and I go right to my favorite shape I like to make. So, and that's sort of another whole different tangent, is that that's a whole other tangent too, is that this is something that in time you're going to find your different styles and you're going to find the shapes that you like. Okay, so hold on, I'm grabbing another, pencil. Here we go. Yep. All right. Just because of Lorna's question. All right. So anyway, here's my two that are wet. Here's a Stabilo pencil. Okay. Jean gave us these. You can work with it wet. You can work with it dry. Either or. And then, so that's the Stabilo 3-in-1. These are the Neos. And so the thing that these all have in common is that they're water soluble, which means you can use them dry and you can use them wet. But here's the thing. If you use them wet, and then this is dry. Let's say you come back tomorrow, right? And I come back tomorrow and this is all dry, and I take my brush, I'm gonna reactivate it all. It's all gonna get reactivated if I use my brush and add water to it, even though it's dry. So the way around that is you wanna use a fixative. If you really wanna work this way too, you do these on the ends too. So a workable fixative, I'm not gonna spray it because it's really stinky and you wanna be outside and it's toxic, is you spray it and it fixes it, and then you can gesso over it. Then you can keep working on top. So here's the thing, when I'm using my Neos, especially these small ones, when I'm working this way, I usually do the Neo layers after I've done all my acrylic layers. And then I kind of just let it be. I don't really do much more than that. But if I was going to sell it and I wanted to add some gesso on top of it, some clear gesso, or I wanted to add some matte medium, these two things are going to activate it and then make it permanent. Okay, so you just want to, maybe you don't care that it's gonna smear a little bit, then just add the gesso. But once you've added these two things on top, they're going to be permanent. All right, so that's kind of like the main thing to know about anything that's water soluble, is that you can reactivate it. So if you want it to be permanent, you add a fixative and then you add on a layer of matte medium or clear gesso. Or you can also, let me just do this. You can also take, hold on. You can also take a little gesso. That's the clear, even though it doesn't look clear. And you could take your gesso and use it to paint with. Okay, let's say painting, painting, painting. Then tomorrow, if I came back in here and I wanted to work on top of this layer, you wouldn't be able to reactivate this again. So hopefully, Lorna, that makes sense. Now, she also wanted to ask me about these, which I have a bunch of. Pastels are totally different. These are not water soluble. You want to use these dry. This is a Stabilo. And if I was working with this on top of my journal page or my art, or I was doing something and I was using these, then you definitely want to use a fixative, and you would want to use these on your last layer, and that way you spray it and you can let it be. And I think then you can varnish as well on top of it if you need to, but then I would recommend doing a spray varnish, not a wet varnish, if you're doing a lot of pastel works. I don't really work with pastels that much. Renee loves pastels. She's a pastel queen. I think pastels and oils scare me. Whoopsie, to be honest. And so I don't really use that too much, but I think I might start experimenting on my mornings that I'm doing this. Let's see, Suzanne has a question. Do you use gesso on ground or paper underneath to seal? Do I use the gesso underneath to seal? I use the gesso on pages that I want to build up, and you can also seal them that way as well. I don't really do gesso on my canvases. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Maybe I need to. All right, hold on. I'm going to flip this around. Flipping us around. Oh, wait. That's my, hold on. That is my, okay, good. It worked. And there for you guys who were a little bit, not late, but anybody who came in halfway through, I painted my wall easel. And now I can't move my hip, but that's okay. I did a good job. I know I babbled a lot, but I just wanted you guys to, if you get anything from this live today, it really is to practice, okay? I feel like I'm a midget, hold on. Practice and not worry about if it's disgusting and crappy and ugly, because nothing is ugly. And you can turn it into something beautiful the next day. And just kind of like, as you keep doing it, think about things you like. So I keep finding script in a lot of things. I keep looking at artwork that has writing in it. And it's not legible writing. It's not like, what does that say? It's just writing. And I'm thinking like, what do I like about it? I like that there are lines and something is mysterious about it. And so I might start kind of working on that idea. Or maybe you have a certain color you want to play with or color combination you want to play with. So I just encourage you guys to play around with that. And I will be posting a lot of my studio mornings. So to encourage other people, I did a blog post about it last week. So if you guys are not on my newsletter too, if you go to my website, I send one newsletter a week, and I'm trying to do like 1 or 2 blog posts a week, which will be connected on the newsletter. And because, you know, I just think there's a lot of good stuff in there that I'm learning from other people that I want to share with you guys. And let's see what else. I missed you guys too. I'm so excited. So I wanted to tell you that for the Zooms, because it's summertime, even though you wouldn't know it here. Oh yeah, okay, okay. It's summertime. I know people are really busy, so I decided to put the Zooms on hold just for 1 month. That's it. And then I'm going to restart them. And I'm thinking of, here's what I'm thinking about. And you guys let me know too what you wanted me to teach. But I'm thinking about doing like a 3-part Zoom, whether you drop into one, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do all 3, but it's all going to be about creating a journal and working together and having lots of prompts and lots of different materials to work with. And I'm just thinking that would be something that would be really fun to do in the fall. So that's what I'm thinking. So for August, we'll be doing lives on Saturdays. There's not any in July. We're still in July. I shouldn't go right to August, but I'm going to be here for the next few Saturdays. I'm not traveling anywhere. So if there's something that you guys want to actually see in the lives as well, let me know. Or is there something you're stuck on or you want me to review? I'm here for you guys. All right. Okay. So have a fantastic weekend. Oh, I just got a crooked. I did that again. Have a fantastic weekend. Maybe I need to dance it out. And I'll see you guys, all right? Have a good one. I need to go now. Bye.